The Soviet Navy is one of the most versatile in war thunder. It includes swift anti-submarine ships, all-purpose destroyers, sniper vessels with powerful guns, and heavily armored giants. In this new Book of Records video, we will highlight the most outstanding Soviet ships, the fastest, the most heavily armored, and the most formidable. Let's kick it off with a ship that holds the record for the highest displacement in the Soviet fleet. Say hi to the Kronstadt, a heavy cruiser of Project 69, displacing a whopping 41,540 tons. Its impressive armor and large caliber guns do not prevent Kronstadt from being one of the most maneuverable capital ships in the Soviet Navy. The battlecruiser reaches speeds of up to 61 kilometers an hour, giving it an additional advantage in engagements against other ships of its size. At the other end of the displacement spectrum are the G5 class motor torpedo boats, displacing just 16.3 tons. These nimble but lightly armed vessels are an excellent introduction to the Soviet Union's coastal fleet. However, the title of the fastest vehicle belongs to another vessel. Among the blue water ships, the fastest is the destroyer Blagorodny, which can reach 72 kilometers an hour. While impressive for a larger vessel, this is just about half the speed of small anti-submarine ships of the Project 11451 Sokol. With two gas turbine engines producing 20,000 horsepower each and an excellent transmission system, these hydrofoil-equipped vessels can reach speeds of up to 120 kilometers an hour. Thanks to their superb maneuverability, decent autocannons, and an arsenal of 8 torpedoes, Sokol MPKs are an excellent choice for capturing objectives and ambushing destroyers. Additionally, Sokol-class anti-submarine ships are among the most modern in the Soviet fleet, with the last one being laid down in 1990, just a year before the collapse of the Soviet Union. However, the most modern fully completed ships belong to another class of small anti-submarine ships, Project 1331M. The last vessel in this series, designated MPK-229, was laid down at a shipyard in East Germany in 1988. In 1990, it joined the fleet and remains in service today under the name Kalmykia. As for the oldest ship in the Soviet fleet, that title belongs to the battleship Parizhskaya Kommuna. Just like the anti-submarine ship Kalmykia, which survived the collapse of one country and was transferred to another, Parizhskaya Kommuna witnessed numerous historic events. Originally laid down in early June 1909 as the battleship Sevastopol, it played a significant role in several Imperial Navy operations during World War I. Later, it was transferred to the Soviet Navy, underwent multiple modernizations, was renamed Parizhskaya Kommuna, served Soviet forces during the Siege of Leningrad, and was ultimately renamed Sevastopol again before being commissioned in 1956. The ship's service lasted an impressive 42 years, another record among Soviet ships featured in War Thunder. The shortest service record is shared by 3 ships. The battleships Arkhangelsk and Poltava, both of which served for 5 years, and Imperatrica Maria, which lasted just 1 year. Their stories differ significantly. Poltava suffered a devastating fire in the early years after the fall of the Russian Empire. Arkhangelsk was originally the British battleship Royal Sovereign, transferred to the Soviet Navy for a few years as part of Italy's reparations. Imperatrica Maria was technically in service for about 10 years, but in reality, it was a different story. Just a year after entering service, the battleship sank following an explosion in its magazine and spent most of its service either underwater or in a dry dock. Arkhangelsk also holds 2 additional records. First, among all researchable ships found in the Soviet tech tree, it boasts the most powerful armament. Originally a British warship, it features 4 main caliber guns, 12 secondary turrets, and 34 anti-aircraft guns. Arkhangelsk carries turrets with 2, 4, and even 8 barrels. making it an absolute powerhouse. Furthermore, its Mark I guns hold the record for the largest caliber in the Soviet lineup, at 381 millimeters. However, if we only consider Soviet-made artillery, the title goes to the 356mm gun produced by the Obukhov Works in 1913, which was mounted on the battlecruiser Izmail. Secondly, Arkhangelsk is the most heavily armored ship in the Soviet lineup. While other Soviet and Russian warships have decent protection, the 330mm steel armor belt of this particular battleship provides a significant advantage in long-range engagements. Finally, the record for the largest crew among Soviet ships belongs to the battleship Parizhskaya Kommuna, which was manned by a crew of 1,730 sailors. Meanwhile, the G5-class motor torpedo boat had a crew of just 6, which is unsurprising given their small size. Speaking of smaller vessels, we simply have to mention the late-model MBK-161, an armored gunboat with one of the most powerful salvos in the Soviet lineup. It carries a total of 5 guns, including 2 F-34 cannons, the same ones used on T-34 tanks, 3 smaller caliber cannons, and 2 machine guns. From World War I behemoths to late 20th century naval powerhouses, the Soviet Navy features an array of fascinating warships suited to a variety of playstyles. Which ones are your favorites? Let us know in the comments down below.